And you won't believe, actually the idea took only 15 minutes to conceive, but it took us 4 years to sell the idea. Chota Bheem went on air. We're not even sure that we will still be running the company. I was always acting like I'm working, but I was never acting because I was never interested in whatever I was doing.
Hi, I am Muskan Behune and welcome to this episode of the Angyan podcast by Arena Animation, जहाँ पे हम बातें करेंगे about the dynamic world of gaming, animation, VFX and extended reality, where we build genuine connections with our guests and avoid the pitfalls of preachiness. Our conversations are going to bring you unique perspectives and experiences from this vibrant industry. From storytelling to character design, let us explore the various processes behind the magic. In this episode, we are honored to have Rajiv Chilaka, a visionary who has significantly contributed to the animation industry in India. As the founder of Green Gold Animation, he is the creative genius behind some of the most beloved animated shows, including Chota Bheem and the Krishna series. Rajiv's work has inspired millions of children while paving the way for Indian animation on the global stage. Today, he shares his journey, insights into the AVGC industry, and his vision for the future. Welcome to the show, Rajiv. Thank you so much for being on the Angyan podcast by Arena Animation. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And I am so excited to get into the conversation already. But before that, I wanted to ask you one small thing. I read this about you somewhere, that when you were just beginning your journey, you had mentioned that even if I become 10% of what Walt Disney is, because you were very inspired by Walt Disney, it would be amazing. And now you are referred to as India's Walt Disney. So I just want to know, how's that feeling? You've come a long way. What would you say about that?
First of all, thanks Muskan for having me on Angyan. I just want to congratulate for the name. I think the name is amazing, Angyan. I think that is what I think we all need in every day of our life, ungyanning the whole thing that we learn. Sometimes we overdo everything.
Exactly.
So coming to the question on Walt Disney, yes, I am very much a huge fan of Walt Disney, and I'm here because I'm inspired by his story. And I read about my university in the US, University of Missouri, Kansas City. I studied there, and the logo was designed by Walt Disney himself. Like, that was almost 95 years ago. So when I learned this one, it really fascinated me that actually Walt Disney was here. That was Kansas City. And then I read the life of Walt Disney, and I thought what he achieved in those days without access to finance or technology and so many other things that today, we are spoiled with. He didn't have any of those, and he's achieved so much. And I thought, okay, today we have access to finance, technology, AI is coming up, so many things going on. I thought, like, it will be a shame if we don't achieve something like that. But personally, I feel I have a long way to go. And I think the legend of Walt Disney, I don't want to be compared to him, because for me, is my idol. I'm just a normal guy. I have a long way to go. I feel that.
But even your journey is so inspirational. I'm sure a lot of people look up to you because of all the fabulous work that you have done. I mean, I don't know one single kid who doesn't know about Chota Bheem or who hasn't watched Chota Bheem. So it's like it has become a cultural phenomena. But if I start from the beginning about Green Gold Animation, I would like to ask, how did you think of starting Green Gold Animation, and was this already your dream that I want to shape the animation or the AVGC industry, or it just happened with time?
I think I didn't plan anything. It happened with time. But as a kid, I was a huge comic book lover. I wanted to see the comic books move as a kid. Like, I was used to think, like, what if these things move? I can see it, because reading it, I didn't really love reading. So reading that, understanding it, and all, I thought it's too boring. I think it should be fast. That's how I thought of about comics and stuff, and it totally inspired me that so much. It made my childhood so good, actually, in fact, because I was living in that dreams and daydreaming. I was a daydreamer. And then so when I was in the US, I was studying, and software and telecom and stuff like that. I was really bored, and I felt like this is, I don't want my life to be a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 job. I really wanted to do something different, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I loved sports, but I wasn't good enough to be a sportsman. I loved films, but I wasn't sure that if I had the talent to do that. And then I loved animation as well. So I thought, okay, animation needs both creativity as and technology. I thought, let me give a shot at it. And then I went to learn at Academy of Arts, San Francisco. And prior to prior to joining that university, I was a slacker. So I was always acting like I'm working, but I was never acting because I was never interested in whatever I was doing. But the moment I took up this field, I was working 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. And I was not getting tired. I was getting up fresh. I was going to bed fresh. So I thought, this is not me at all. And I loved what I was doing. So I thought, I have to do this for the rest of my life. And that's how I thought I should go back to India, start Green Gold. And that's how I took the first step. And I thought, like in dreams, everything happens so quickly and I'll become successful very easily. But that wasn't the case. We had to go through a lot.
Yeah, and you just found your passion, and then you followed your passion, and that's what happens. I feel I there's this famous quote that if you follow your passion, you won't have to work a single day in your life. Work doesn't feel like work. So that's what you did. And coming back to Chota Bheem, I'd mentioned that it is such a popular character, and it's an iconic character. It is loved by millions. But when you were working on it, when you were working on that character, I would like to know, what was your creative journey like? What was your thought process? How did you make such a relatable and enduring character?
So when back in this was back in 2002-3. So we had, so the company was called Green Gold Graphics. We did not yet form Green Gold Animation. So I was working like a proprietor concern, and then I was figuring out what should we do. So as a kid, my favorite characters from the from the Mahabharata were Bhim, Krishna, and Arjun. And so in 2003 and 4, we were trying to do Krishna. And at the same time, we saw that there were almost 17 companies also doing Krishna. And then in 2004 and 5, nobody still came out of it, nobody didn't release it yet. So 2005, I pitched this idea that Cartoon Network asked us. We delivered Vikram Betal to them, and it was in the top 50 shows of that year. And they asked me, what else can you do for us? I've said, I pitched Chota Beam to them. Then they said, okay, maybe not, but something else. I said, what about Krishna? We can do that. They immediately said yes. So my artist drew a Krishna character right in front of them, and it was bang on. They loved it, and we went for it. So they greenlit the show. And even though 17 companies were working on it who had funding and all, we were the first ones to actually cross the line. But during that time, it gave us sleepless nights, because what if somebody else releases Krishna before us? Because then we may not, get the right results. So that's when I was thinking about Bhim. So I felt, okay, if we have to take Bhim out of the Mahabharata era, so we had to take that characteristics and give it to a normal kid. It's like everybody is relate. You can only always relate to somebody like you. So I wanted the kids to be able to relate to Bhim. Then I thought, okay, so should he be where? I thought he should be in a small village. He should have his friend. There should be competition. As a kids love fantasy, I thought, okay, there should be a kingdom. There should be, obviously, kingdom means a king and a princess that should be there. So these elements came around, and you won't believe, actually the idea took only 15 minutes to conceive.
Oh my
And
God.
it just happened like one day like this. but it took us 4 years to sell the idea. And we finally managed. And like I mentioned, 2003 we got the idea. First pilot we made in 2004. By the time it came on air, it was 2008. So that was the journey. And of course, good things are not going to happen so easily. We have to make it happen, and we have to be at it.
So, what were the first few reactions like when it was finally released?
I think, see, when we are basically, we had nothing easy, like I told you. So 10 days before Beam went on air, our office building got fire. And so we were moving it new building, and the whole building got burned down. So we did interiors. We are going to move into a new thing. So when Beam went on air on April 6th, so this happened on 26th March 2008, and April 6th Chota Beam went on air. So we really had, like, we were thinking, like, we're not even sure that we will still be running the company, because the ratings will come 2 weeks later. So we were excited, but same time I was going through a lot at that time, and I felt, oh no, I have no idea how what's going to happen. I had no idea that it's going to become so huge. So 2 weeks later, so we had team from Cartoon Network fly down to Hyderabad, and then I said, listen man, I can't produce more because I'm not in a great shape, because what. Then they said, no, we want to sign 2 seasons and we'll pay you advance. And that was the turning point. And they mentioned Chota Beam is a huge hit, and I think this is going to go on for next 4 5 years, is what they said. And that was kind of turning point in my life and for the company as well. And it was a great later on it became a game changer, not just for me or Green Gold, but for the entire Indian animation, because India needed a domestic hit, and that was Chota Beam.
Yeah, and it was such a roller coaster journey with filled with so many hardships, but then in the end it was all worth it, because now it is, as I said, it is loved by, like, it is loved by millions. So when we talk about animation, or when we talk about Chota Bheem, it is, we can call it entertainment. So animation is about entertainment, but it is not only about entertainment, right? It can also be used to educate people, inspire
Absolutely.
people, or drive a change. So I also read this, that you have another character called Mighty Little Bheem, and it was showcased by UNESCO and Netflix on India's 75th Independence Day, to showcase India's culture, and how that's how it is also driving social change and creating an impact in some way. So how do you think we can do more of this with animation, using animation, because there's so much potential, right?
Absolutely. I think, see, one thing about animation is kids are automatically drawn towards these colorful characters. So when we did Mighty Little Beam, that we were lucky that Netflix was interested in that show, and it's a baby version of Chota Beam. So we thought, when we do a baby version of Beam, which means babies can't talk, so it is a sound off show, meaning there's no dialogues in that show. So I proposed this idea to Netflix, and they were a little worried initially, but they said, "Can you give a 5 minute sample?" And we did that, and it turned out that Netflix initially wanted this for their Indian audience, but this show went on to become globally number one show in preschool segment and number two in kids and family, and more than 35 million households watched it in the launch year, that is 2019, and it is very popular. Like, in India, Green Gold is known with Chota Beam, but outside of India, Mighty Little Beam is the character we get recognized with, and that is a great moment of pride, because we never actually thought we can actually even make a show that can be working internationally. And so, in fact, when during the 75th year, when UNESCO took the character of Mighty Little Beam to represent Indian culture, that was really an icing on the cake for us. And even, I mean, like, every year something great happens with our characters. Like, recently Prime Minister Modi ji spoke on the Man Ki Baat about how Chota Beam has kind of been popular not just in India but across the globe. I mean, that is gives us very immense satisfaction, not just for me, but all the creators inside of Green Gold. We are very honored that we are sitting here and done this so far.
Yeah. And what do you think? What do we need to do more of to have this cultural, to use animation to create impact or drive change in the society? Because it is a very unconventional way. It is not preachy at all. So, what do we need to do more of create such characters, create such stories that would involve people, but also create an impact?
I think one thing is we need to understand what is the mindset of Indian children. Every time, every decade, it keeps changing. So I felt like it is Indian kids' moral was very down because we don't win any medals at the Olympics. We don't any international character is somebody else. There's no Indian cartoons. So first thing is when we came up with these ideas, it is kind of suddenly they realize, hey man, this is a character I can relate to. He's eating our food. He's playing the games I play. So suddenly the confidence level in the kid is rising. Second, we're teaching example inside of Beam. We're teaching doing the right thing. That is, stand for your friends, stand for your country, stand for your village, respect your elders, respect culture, all these kind of simple messaging, save water, keep your city clean, all these kinds of messages that are needed for the children. We keep doing that. So again, we keep tweaking this every 5-10 years because I mean, like certain time we felt realized, Beam is action oriented because in today's world there are a lot of violence that is happening, but no one is standing up and saving those victims that is happening. No one is there. But again, it has to come from kids childhood that I need to save somebody in trouble. So that has to be done from the childhood itself. And in fact, animation, when kids, you make them learn these kind of fundamental things. They don't need to save somebody alone, but 4 5 people can come together and save any situation. And so this change I felt is needed in India, and we're just subtly in putting all these things. And like today's world, it is now all about, with COVID, post COVID, is all about environment, and it's all about keeping your making sure you're taking care of health, elders, everyone. So again, so those kind of messages we are doing. And today we feel India needs entrepreneurs. Today we are the fourth largest economy, and I felt we can be the world number one country, which means we need to have entrepreneurs. So hence we came up with a new show called as Chota Startup, which actually encourages entrepreneurship. So, I mean, see, whatever we have to, I mean, everyone can choose to be either, do a job of what they love, or some people, not everyone can do it. Some people have this great quality of bringing people together and making towards a common goal, which is entrepreneurship. So, again, we thought from childhood we have to do that. And the show is coming on Disney, and we're very excited. Launched earlier this year, and it's doing pretty well.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And it's safe to call you the industry veteran now of the AVGC industry, and you've been working for so many years, and I'm sure the industry would have changed in these many years, say 20 years back to now. So what do you think are the major changes that you have noticed during your uh, work duration in this industry?
I think, see, first when we started, there was only one kids channel in India. So it was really hard to get on there and stuff. Today there are more than 16 kids channels. Again, they're all things are changing. Then there's OTT platforms, digital, social media, and then YouTube. So watching animation has become so easy. Some time back, whatever you were creating, it was limited to India. But today, whatever we create, we put it on the right platform, be it Netflix or Prime or Disney or even YouTube. That means you're going directly into all the countries in the world. So anyone in the world from anywhere can watch your show. So which means that if you make great content, you're going to get definitely recognized. And you can, of course, we have to figure out how to monetize that. But I think that was one of the things. Second, when we started out, people did not want, there were not many people who were wanting to follow the dreams of animation or stuff because they felt it is not a safe job. There are not enough jobs. But I think today we are all lucky to be in the media field because there's so many opportunities, and so all these have come in the thanks to a good, stable country, good economy, and of course we once everything is, your take food and shelter is taken care, then we need entertainment, and that's what we are here for.
Yeah. And you spoke about content going global, but there's also a lot of work that we are outsourcing currently. What do you think is the reason behind that? How can we make sure, or at least try, that we are creating more content in the country that is going global rather than outsourcing work from other countries?
Yeah, I think see, it is okay. Every company has a skill set. Some companies are great in in doing outsourced work because their mind is tuned to that. And then there are some companies who are great at products. You are creating and thinking in that way. So I think it's fine to do either of them, because very important to build our industry because it's a new industry relatively. It's only 20-25 years old, and it's important to build that skill set, etc., etc. So once we that first level is done, today there's so many creators who can really create a show in no time. That wasn't true 10 years ago. So I think because experience, when you're exposed to working on the best shows in the world, I think today, example, Disney's Mufasa is coming, and a lot of that work has been out of India. So I feel proud because we used to only think there's somebody out there sitting in US or some other part doing all this work. But I think this is a great achievement. And then once they know how to do that, then somebody can bring them together to mold to make our own Lion Kings and our own Chota Beams and stuff like that. So I feel it is good, but I agree with you. I am also totally for Indian IPs and stuff. I feel like it's time the world should watch our content. We had seen enough of their content.
Exactly. But we can say that it's happening. We're getting there. We've started,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think today, like Indian content is watched across the globe, which is fantastic. I think, example, Life of Pi or Slumdog Millionaire, even Indian actors are getting accepted. I would love to, see Indian actors doing, Hollywood films and stuff because I think they're better than those guys. What I feel. Even our directors, I think some of these guys, I can never get that thrill from watching a Hollywood film.
Yeah. And with content going global and so many changes in the industry throughout the years, the technology is also expanding. So there's so much AI and extended reality coming in. How do you see, how can we use the technology in animation and in the AVGC industry mostly? And do you think if it's good, if it's bad, how do you strike that balance?
So let me one step back, and I tell you something else. Look, whenever I met any successful entrepreneur, so whenever I meet any famous guy who's done really well, I ask him simple question: Can you please give me an advice on what I should do to make sure that we are doing decent in our company? They all say invest in technology. You know, almost most of them. So no one ever says, try to stay away from technology, try to stay creative. No one says that. Everyone says be creative but invest in technology. So AI is something that is coming. It is going to change the way we live, whether we like it or not. So a choice is up to us whether we want to adapt to it or we want to avoid it. Sooner or later, everybody has to use it. So, one, it is going to make our lives easier and better. AI has been already part of our lives for some time. It's just that a common man doesn't know that this is already happening. But with what is happening, it is definitely going to be game changer. Things are going to become anyone can create animation content now. You don't need hundreds of people to sit down. Isn't it great for the creator who's got a 16-year-old girl sitting in, let us say, smallest village in India? If she has a good story, she understands technology, she can make a better show than Chota Beam. So this is what technology can do, and that is fantastic. Of course, AI has to be used responsibly also. There are also, whenever any great thing has come, there's also negative consequences, like e-banking. How many scams are happening. So same thing, AI can be misused. I think that's the government role worldwide, that we take care that it is not misused.
Yeah, but then also creativity will always be at its core, no matter how much technology we use, right?
Yes, I don't think AI can ever replace emotional intelligence. It is sometimes, example, it's your first day of job in a company that you always dream to work. AI can never understand the feeling of that person, or somebody is getting married. Those emotions AI can never understand. That advantage we have, and thank God, I mean, machines can't do that.
Yeah. And there's also so much discussion about AI taking your jobs because AI, the work will get done way faster. So we'll need less humans because AI will do your job. What is your perspective on that? What do you think
I
of
think
it?
AI will definitely save our time, just like how today, when you have a smartphone in your hand, you are able to do so many things. Like example, when you have to invite 100 people for a wedding, earlier days people used to go house to house, invite people. Today they're sending WhatsApp invites because it is convenient, and the traffic has become, and the world has changed. We are adapting. So similarly, I think we need to understand that things have changed. We're in 2025 is coming,
Almost.
so we are there, and so I don't think it'll take away jobs. It just make our quality of life better, and I think we will see much greater entertainment. And I mean, it's great if we have uh, making money with AI and don't have to work. That's a dream come true.
Yeah. We spoke about the Indian animation industry, and I believe that the Indian animation industry has a lot of potential to do great things and create content for global audience. But do you think that do we face any challenge creating great teams, building great teams, or to acquire talent? And if yes, what can be done to you know build good teams and then create fabulous content?
I think first thing is building good team or great team takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think we have all seen this in creative industries or even any industry. Just spending money doesn't guarantee a hit. So we need to ensure that that team spirit is there, right team is built, right passion. We are working towards something with the right passion. We thought out, we brainstorm, we are open minded to understand what is wrong with this character. Many times we don't like somebody else telling us your character sucks. We don't like it because we are not open minded. So it's very important to be open minded, understand. And I believe, so if giving an example, after before or any big animation studio, none of them have been born out of the US after year 2000. So any big company also, let's say Google's or Apple, everything, all these companies have come prior to year 2000. The reason all these companies have come because they were in that boom technology era. Similarly, I feel India is in that boom right now. So many companies are built in the last couple of decades, and I feel like India can not only dominate our own space, but I think India can dominate the entire world with our content, because the way we are thinking, I think we just need that confidence, because the West has done a great job earlier in breaking our confidences. But now I think just when, especially, I mean, like a lot of guys are working creative space, the girls are outstanding in creative space. I see a lot of our young girls who are working here, the fresh out of college, they know how to make IP. And I haven't seen this kind of talent in the last 2 decades, and I see this kind of talent. So I think India has got a great future, and we have a possibility to dominate. We don't need to dominate, but we need to work with everyone in the world to ensure that our culture, our values, our which is good messages, should be shown to the entire world.
Yeah, and we spoke about talent acquisition. So, if we talk about budding animators or people who want to get into this industry, what are the three tips or what is some advice that you would like to give them to be job ready and industry ready and just like make their mark?
I think, see, the most, so it's the first thing is it's a very difficult industry. I mean, for people who don't have a dream and if they just want to make money, this is not the right field. Here, I mean, like, first you have to come in, work very hard, and then once you get that recognition and attention, I think you're going to make a lot of money. But money again is not important for any artist. For them, creating a character, creating a story, make people, thousands of people watching it, nothing more pleasurable that. But of course, for the students, they have to be constantly adapting to new technologies, because whatever you are learning today may be obsolete in 6 months. Not even, I won't even say 5 years, but so we have to be
6 months.
constantly upgrading ourselves.
So, and you have to be passionate, is what you emphasized
I
on.
think,
You
yeah,
have to love if you're doing
absolutely. I
this.
think in anything we need passion today, even whatever it is. If otherwise we today's world, you will otherwise you'll just not be standing out unless you're passionate in whatever you're doing.
Yeah, you can't do it just for the sake of it. You have to really love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I think we can tell when anyone we meet in our life, whether it's a auto driver or taxi guy or a pilot, you can tell, air hostess, anyone you meet, you can tell they love the job or not.
Definitely. And if you have to tell the audience or any budding animators, these are some skill sets that would be very helpful if they have it. What would that be?
I think, see, in today's world, we have so many technologies. So even if you don't know anything, you can still become and come into this field as long as you're thinking out of the box. So the most important thing I feel is you have to think different. You cannot be thinking and following what others are doing. You need to have your own original ideas. That is why IPs they call original content. It's a Netflix original series. It is a HBO original. So ideas should be original. As long as you have ideas and original ideas, this is the right field for you. You don't need any other skill set, because your friends could be good at drawing. If you don't know drawing, doesn't matter, because your friend could be a great artist. If you don't understand software coding, doesn't matter, your friend could be knowing that. So I believe it is the ideas, that original ideas, that idea can come from anyone. If you have that idea, you can make a difference. See, the first thing is I have no fear also. Like, many people have fear of technology. I don't want to sit and learn something. AI is just scary, but it is easiest thing to use.
Yeah.
So
Once you start using
absolutely,
it.
any other softwares, like, and of course all the softwares that are out there, they can be taught as long as you have the right tutor, teacher, friend, somebody is teaching you, guiding you.
Yeah.
But even then, you can do the most beautiful thing. So many movies that look great, but there is no story. The movie is not. No one is going to come and watch your movie.
Yeah.
So your idea, your heart, is needed in everything you do.
It's the most important.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
So we call this the Ungyan podcast, and I would like to ask you, what is your Ungyan moment? If there's any quote that has stayed with you, any movie that has inspired you, or anything that you would like to pass on.
So I think for me, I think it's a turning point in my life, because I was in the US. I was one day, I was at my friend's place, and I mean, at a very young age, he got married and he already had a baby. So to keep the baby busy, he played the movie Lion King, and on a home video, on a VHS tape. Those time DVDs were not there, and I was like thinking, okay, as a grown man, I can't be watching animation. But I just, because I was sitting there, I just got so engrossed more than the baby. The baby slept off in like 4 minutes, but I was watching the whole movie, and I felt like we should make this kind of film in India. And when I started, I thought should be my goal, that we have to make a movie that is animation movie, especially that the world will watch. It may take me a long time to do that. I don't know when I will do that. That will be globally. People will go to theaters and watch that kind of film. But I hope to make it someday.
Wow, so that was your Ungyan moment.
Yeah, there's so many, in the sense,
Yeah.
whenever I mess up, I always learn, and that
Yeah.
was one of the turning points in my life.
So you're watching an animated movie and you are getting so inspired by it that you want to create something like this is something very interesting. And now we have a very fun segment called Ungyan Shorts. It is I'll be asking you some questions you have to answer, but it has to be really quick. You won't get a lot of
I
time.
will try.
Yeah. So if not animation, what exciting career do you think you would be rocking right now?
I think I would have gone into movies, producing it,
Producing movies.
not or directing, but not acting. I'm not. I like to be behind the camera.
Okay. Which animated character feels like your alter ego and why?
I think Donald Duck. I feel
Oh.
I feel that way because I mean he keeps trying, a lot of things, trying
Yeah.
to uh, please people, help people, and it always often fails. So I like the Donald Duck, and it's fun characters.
Yeah.
Never gives up, keeps
Yeah.
trying,
You
keeps
find
doing.
him relatable.
I find him relatable, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I do.
Interesting. What's one piece of advice you would love to time travel and give your younger self when starting Green Gold animation?
Make sure you do it.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
stop.
I would
Yeah.
say don't change anything.
Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, the same way I'm doing. Like, there were moments when I wanted to quit, but I kind of went over through because I don't find I'm a person who doesn't like to regret any decisions that I made.
Mm.
But yeah, I think I would have probably uh, maybe looked out for more investments or something like that, which I didn't earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the journey has been
I mean,
great.
yeah, I totally enjoyable. Yeah.
Lovely. If you could team up with any global animation studio, what's on your dream list?
I think I would love to see Mighty Little Beam be a global film and make it into a film that, and probably would love to tie up with DreamWorks or, Disney or someone. I would love to do that because Disney has the marketing firepower, and I feel Mighty Little Beam is already a global character, and I think we should tell a great Indian story that will connect with everyone in the world.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Thank you.
Which Indian mythological story would you love to reimagine in animation with your own unique twist?
I think unique twist we can't give to our mythology because we will get into trouble. But I think the Mahabharata has so many stories. I would love to only focus on the childhood of the Pandavas, not get into the complex war and those kind of things.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think the childhood has never been talked about much in any of the series because it's no text representing that. So there is also creative freedom as long as you're glorifying your heroes. So
Okay. What's that one quality every animator needs to have in their creative toolkit?
I think they should think out of the box. I would like to say
That's
that.
the most important.
I think yes, you should not think always the same way. I think even if you see Moana 2, that is the key word. When there is always another way to do something,
Yeah.
and
Have to be different.
I mean you don't need to be different, but there's always a way to do something, and we should find that.
Yeah.
And sometimes that solution is only comes when you think out of the box. In a sense, not the regular way. You have to.
Yeah. Not very mainstream.
Yeah, you have to just think, okay, what else can be done?
Yeah.
This cannot happen, so what else can happen?
Yes. All right. What's the funniest or wildest misconception you've heard about the animation industry?
I think that we'll become rich soon.
Okay, that's
I think yeah,
misconception.
I mean it's the film. Everybody when everyone thinks the industry people make a lot of money, but it's not true. It's a
Okay.
lot of hard work,
It
and then
takes a lot of time, is what I have
absolutely,
heard. Yeah.
absolutely, it takes a lot of time just to create content, and people think it just and a new episode can be made in like one day. So it's not true. So it takes about 100 days to make an episode of animation with 100 people. So it's a lot of hard work.
If you could pluck one animated character out of the screen and into real life, who would it be?
Okay, there will be so many characters, but I love Chip and Dale from those squirrels from the Mickey Mouse. So Walt Disney Animation again. I'm a fan of that, and I Chip and Dale are the squirrel characters. I love them.
Okay, you can give top three.
Top three. Okay, so I would be thinking Simba is the other character. I think I'm excited to go see Mufasa is coming. I would love to see that. So that's the second one. And most recently, I've seen Coco.
Yeah.
So that character, the kid who sings very well,
Yeah.
I think he's one of my favorite. And especially because it's in a different culture. But and then of course, more personal is Mighty Little Beam, because
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
we want to create that character so that when you see him, we want to actually pull him out and pull his cheeks.
Yeah,
So
he's so cute.
actually, yeah. So that would be, of course, but I didn't want to say our own stuff, but
You give your own stuff, also
that
you
would
give
be
your own
Mighty
answers.
Little Beam
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
That is so interesting, and it was so lovely speaking to you, Rajiv. I
Thank you,
think
Muskan.
I learned so much, and I'm sure everyone who will watch this video will learn so much. It will be very helpful for all the budding animators and everyone who wants to enter this industry. And your journey has been phenomenal, and the work that you have done has created a very long lasting impact. And I wish Green Gold Animations a hundredfold success in the future. And thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Thanks so much, Muskan, and thank you for having me on Ungyan.
Our pleasures. Thank you.
Thank you.
This brings us to the end of another insightful episode of the Ungyan podcast by Arena Animation. A big thank you to Rajiv Chilaka for sharing his journey and valuable insights into the animation industry. You can catch this episode on YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.